Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. will meet on the Ring 4 card in Riyadh on November 22nd for the WBO Welterweight Championship. After becoming a two-weight world champion, Haney suffered his first professional loss to Ryan Garcia, a result later overturned to a no contest after Garcia's failed drugs test, which only built up more anticipation for the potential rematch. And to rebuild the momentum for the fight, Haney decided to move up in weight and face Jose Ramirez at a catch weight on the ring card in Times Square. Taking a very conservative approach, staying on the back foot and controlling the fight with movement and his jab. While effective, it left many fans disappointed in his unwillingness to engage. There was also the sense Haney wanted to guarantee the Garcia rematch, something Ryan Garcia failed to secure after a disappointing loss to Rolly Romero, killing this fight from happening next. Fights with Boots Ennis and Teofimo Lopez were discussed, but neither materialized. So now, the hard-hitting Brian Norman Jr. steps in, ready to take his shot at getting a marquee win over one of boxing's most skilled technicians. So today in the ring, let's take a look at both men and how this fight could play out. First off, let's start off with Devin Haney, and this is a huge fight for him in terms of becoming a three-weight world champion and adding to his legacy. However, having spent years cutting down to 135 and even to 140 pounds, Haney now enters a division filled with naturally bigger, stronger fighters, and most likely, heavier punchers.
Partially blocked. Ooh, that's a lead right in the left drop.
Still, his experience stands out, having fought standout competitors.
Who has Devin Haney fought? Let's hear it.
Vasily Lomachenko, Regis Prograis, Ryan Garcia, Jose Ramirez. I feel like I'm missing big George Kambosos times two.
Jojo Diaz. You know, we can go Jorge Linares. You know, we can go on and on and on.
And that level of opposition might just give him the edge in terms of experience and composure under the pressure of this fight. And although this division may be closer to his actual weight, he'll be facing a fully fledged welterweight with a 79% knockout rate at the weight, particularly with that left hook.
Another left hook.
This of course a punch he is familiar with, considering Ryan Garcia dropped him multiple times in their fight. However, Haney is confident that this won't happen again. But what about the fight itself? I very much expect Haney to box with caution again, if I'm being frank, using his great use of the jab and lateral movement to stay out of range, control the rhythm and pace of the fight, while looking to set up counterpunches as Norman comes in. Norman Jr. though can be a very physical fighter up close and on the inside, but for the most part likes to set his feet before throwing his power shots. So, Haney's job will be to keep him off balance, frustrated, and make him walk into his own shots. Something he's proven he can do many times in the past. Another interesting dynamic is the mental side, and there's been plenty of trash talk between the two camps, mostly from Team Haney, which is nothing out of the ordinary, as so far has been downplaying the ability of Norman Jr. and even the opponents that he's faced.
From your point of view, have you been impressed with Norman Jr. and his performances and his knockouts?
I mean, yeah, no, he's put on good performances, but he's put on performances against guys we've never heard of. I don't know not one person on his resume. I think that's what his resume shows. You know, he shows that, you know, guys that he's been supposed to knock out, he's supposed to do that too. He's been doing it. Like I said, I'm going to show that I'm levels above him. I've been fighting these guys at the top level, the best of the best fighters in the world for some time now. He hasn't. I'm the first guy at the top that he's fought.
But maybe this serves as a purpose to get Norman emotional going into this, to cause doubt, and maybe potentially make him become overly aggressive on fight night, so he plays right into Haney's style. Still, a big question I have around Haney is how he will handle the 147-pound division as a whole. Will he have enough natural power or weight in his punches to keep naturally bigger men off him? In fact, Haney hasn't had a knockout win since 2019, with many of his 15 KOs coming in the first half of his career. And there is a possibility if he doesn't have that pop to keep Norman Jr. off, it could turn into a nightmare similar to the Garcia fight. Regardless, you can't look past Haney's big fight experience, his composure and ring IQ, and will no doubt look to use his superior boxing skills at this new weight rather than looking for the knockout. But one thing is for sure, he can't be looking past Brian Norman Jr.
Have you got a message for Norman Jr.?
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna show you it's different levels to this. You know, you've been on that level, you did good, but now this is a whole different level. So I'll see you November 22nd.
Now, for Brian Norman Jr., he's made a steady rise through the ranks. Like Devin Haney, he actually turned professional at a young age as well at 17, fighting his early bouts in Mexico before building a reputation on the smaller American shows with consistent knockout wins, catching the eye of Top Rank in 2022, who gave him the platform for the step-up fights he needed. His first opportunity came in 2024 for the WBO interim title against Giovanni Santillan, a tough season undefeated fighter who climbed to the WBO #1 spot. But Brian Norman Jr., known as the Assassin, spoiled the party by getting a knockout win.
Trying to win himself a belt. The young man from Atlanta, Wow!
Not long after, Terence Crawford vacated the title, elevating Norman to full champion. There was initial talks of unification with Jerome Boots Ennis, but fell through due to financial disagreements. With Boots moving up to the 154-pound division, Norman stayed active, with 2 standout performances in 2025 so far, stopping Cuevas and scoring a potential knockout of the year against Sasaki in Japan, putting him as the #1 ranked welterweight by the Ring magazine. But there's no denying this upcoming fight with Devin Haney is his biggest opportunity of his career to prove he's the real deal. Norman is a fantastic boxer-puncher with solid fundamentals who likes to establish his jab and control range himself, but he's most dangerous when pressing forward. His left hook is one of the best in the sport right now in my opinion. Fast, powerful and lethal as a counterpunch. If he lands clean, it can be lights out for anyone.
My left hand is a killer. My left hook, to be exact, left hook to the body. My left hand just a tire dimension. It's got a whole other situation. You just do whatever it want and it will crack you and put you to sleep.
With that said, he's not flawless. At times he can lunge in with the jab or overuse the left hook, leaving himself open for counters. But even when caught, Norman stays composed and aggressive as he keeps hunting for the finish. Against someone like Devin Haney, the key challenge is going to be about closing the distance to land his money punch. Haney's team will no doubt be aware of this threat. They won't want to make the same mistakes they did in the Garcia fight, most likely preparing to neutralise that weapon throughout. It will be interesting to see how Norman handles the spotlight in his first big time fight, or if the trash talk and mind games from Team Haney will get to him. So far, he seems fairly confident that this won't be an issue.
We spoke with Devin Haney earlier. He spoke about sort of being levels above, and he shows it. He spoke about it being too soon for yourself. How would you respond to Devin saying those sort of things about yourself?
Hey, I'm happy he feel that way, and come November I will show him different. At one point, Muhammad Ali never fought anybody. At one point, Mike Tyson never fought anybody. At one point, Floyd never fought anybody. But then they did, and guess what? History is made. A legendary career was made after that. So Devin Haney is my introduction to a legendary career.
But personally, I think Norman in this fight needs to establish that jab early. He loves to target the body with it and use feints to keep you guessing about when the left hook's going to come. Due to Haney's style, he's most likely going to have to find ways to cut off the ring so he can get physical with him.
Across the 12 rounds, you're very confident that at some point he will feel your power.
I mean, power is a wonderful thing, but it's all about setting the power up, and you actually got to land the shot. Like you just said, catch the chicken. You got to catch him first. So I got to cut the ring off first and just simply keep tagging him. That's it. Just keep touching him. And I know for a fact, if I land one arm clean, literally just one arm, I ain't even got to load up on it. Just touch him with a jab. He going to buckle, and then he going to sleep.
But maybe it's about countering the counterpuncher in this fight. He needs to try draw out Haney's jab, try to catch him with the left hook himself. If he lands something meaningful, he could just get the knockout. Overall, this is a very interesting clash of styles. Haney will look to outbox and counter from range, while Norman will have to find ways to cut off the ring, stop the constant movement from Haney. Devin isn't untouchable, and this is his first fight at the new weight. So the question is, will Haney adapt to the 147-pound division, or put on a boxing clinic as we've seen before? Can Norman prove that his power at welterweight is no joke? You can watch the full Ring 4 card live in DAZN on November 22nd. Make sure to let me know your predictions in the comments below. I'd love to know. Enjoy the fight when it comes. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.